Hey guys, it's Kim. Oh, I just realized I didn't plug my computer in. Talk amongst yourselves. So, how's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. Tuesday. It is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I am here in the Berkeley of the California. I saw a famous-ish chef at my local market today, and I walked up to him and I said, you look like XYZ. And he's like, well, that's because I am XYZ. And I was like, oh, it's nice to meet you. And then I had nothing else to really add to the conversation. And I thought, this is a little awkward. But I just like, well, I love your work. So, I toddled off. Anyway, it's a very nice market. So if there was a place to run into a chef, you're always going to be happy to run into them there. And and then I didn't say, I don't he has a New York accent, so and I don't think he's from here, but maybe I don't know. I didn't ask any follow-up questions. I was like, do you live here now? Or these are kids here? Anyway, don't know. Don't know. None of my business. But I live in kind of a little bit of a chef community in a way. Chez Panisse, which is a pretty famous restaurant, is walking distance from my house. I live in Berkeley. And so chefy people are sometimes in town. All right. So happy Thanksgiving, Holly. Good to hear from you. Glad to have you there online with me today. So, people, did you know Nisha and my holiday cookbook has been updated? I talked about it last week. It is available now. It is available in either a digital download or a book. Now, obviously, the book will not get there by Thanksgiving at this point. Um, but you can get the digital as an add-on and start right away. And it's only $3 to get the digital if you also get the paperback. So, and that'll come in the mail. So just kind of to keep you guys posted about my trials and tribulations, and also things you maybe would be interested in. So I had I think everybody knows that the printing situation has been a situation on both books. And so I had a meeting with the printers yesterday. Yesterday? Feels so long ago. And we worked everything out. All the books are out that have been ordered more than 3 days ago. So there's like a 3 day kind of turnover time sometimes, for most things. Not for the labs book. The labs book is a 1 day turnaround, but anyway. So no, so everything, some things sooner than 3 days, but at least anything that was ordered 3 days ago is in the mail. So we're all good on that, and that will be the pattern moving forward. The only hiccup there is it's the mail. And so the US Postal Service, I don't know, has it been the pandemic? The US Postal Service has been a little iffy the past few years about timing. So, things that go out in the mail, you're at the mercy of the mail. So I thought about having an option for like UPS overnight shipping, but it's so expensive. It's like it I would have to raise the price of everything, and I was like, "Mm." So a couple of people I've been like, "Look, I'm just gonna send you another book because it's been long enough." So the good news is most people are getting their books now. I'm not trying to make it sound more complicated than it is. It's just life. It's just life. So hopefully everybody's doing all right. If you that was just a really bad salesmanship, wasn't it? But if you order the book, you will get the book. So it is coming. At this point, the timing is around 4 to 10 days, depending on getting the book. So if you want the holiday book for Christmas time, I would order it now. I will let you in on a little secret. I'm contemplating a little bit of a extra bonus for Black Friday. So I will announce that later this week. But you know what I'm gonna do? Because I don't like being unfair. I'm gonna email everybody that already bought it and give it to them too. I won't give you not after. It will cut off. But I never like buying things and then being like, if I'd waited, I would have gotten something else. I don't do that. Kim don't play that way. So anyway. So you won't be detrimented. That's not a word. You will not be penalized if you order now, and it will come faster. Anyway, hey Jen, made my green bean casserole and pumpkin bread. Oh, good. That pumpkin bread I think is really good. I like that pumpkin bread. Ken Berry loves it. And so I've made it for him a few times. Anyway, do people have questions? I'm just blathering, blathering, blathering. But I need a haircut, guys. It's gotten to that like stage. I mean, it looks okay. It's not like terrible, but that like slightly awkward stage where I'm always like, what's happening here? Anyway, um, I have a sponsor, sort of, but that's shiny. Element. So if you guys know Element, drinkelement.com, and Element is spelled LMNT. So no vowels. Well, except in drink. This is their chocolate medley. So this is their holiday winter season offer, and you get 30 electrolyte packets. That's upside down. That are chocolate based. So this has a chocolate salt, it's got a mint chocolate, and it has a caramel chocolate, salted caramel chocolate. So really fun new offering. So you can get a good deal if you go to drinkelement.com/Kim Howerton. They pay me. You don't pay any more, but the lovely Drink Element people give me a little bit of money, which is really nice of them. They also send me things like this, which is also very nice. And so I would appreciate it if you appreciate this channel. By the way, now that we're on it, if you can like and subscribe if you haven't already, I would appreciate that. I love doing these things for people free of charge, but if you feel like you want to share the love and you need some chocolate salt, then make that order. They also have non-chocolate salts. They've got so many flavors. Raspberry, orange. Orange is sort of like tang. And I love mixing them. So sometimes I'll make a big pitcher in the fridge and put a few different flavors in it, and then they're delicious. I love them. So they're a great way to get some extra sodium in your diet if you need it. It's not a requirement, but they sure make a tasty beverage. So I love them, and they're especially good for me. I get altitude sickness, so if I'm ever at higher altitude, the extra sodium really helps me. So love it. Hey, Two Crazy Ketos, glad you have on the channel. I've been thinking about emailing you all day. We were supposed to email and then we didn't email, and then it's my fault. It's been a little hectic here. A little hectic. Somebody the other day messaged me and was like, "How do you do the things you do?" And I'm like, "Badly. I do them badly. That's how I do them, but I do them nonetheless." Anyway, so I'm super happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. I know it's the week before Thanksgiving. We can talk about food. The international people are just tired of us talking about Thanksgiving. Eric and I are spatchcocking our turkey. What does that mean? It sounds dirty. We started already a little bit. So basically, to spatchcock your turkey, you cut the backbone out of the turkey, and then you lay it flat. So like basically, like when you're cooking a chicken breast on the bone, you've got like the bone underneath and the meat on the top. It's kind of doing that to the turkey. So the legs are on top. So you kind of, because you took the breastbone out, you're kind of like, the turkey used to be like this, now it's like this, right? And so it cooks faster, and the skin gets crispier and all that good stuff. So we're going to do that this year. I think this will be the year of the spatchcock. I think previous years were like the year of the dry brine, the wet brine. Now I think today we're in the year of everybody's saying they're spatchcocking their turkeys. There you go. And so my Thanksgiving plan is the turkey, which we already have. We have everything. I've shopped. We're gonna do some kombucha squash, which is just a beautiful Japanese. I was about to say eggplant. It's not an eggplant. A Japanese pumpkin. If you've ever been to a Japanese restaurant and gotten like vegetable tempura, and one of the vegetables seemed like pumpkin, you probably have had kombucha, because the rind of kombucha is edible and mostly they feed you that. So that it's better than pumpkin in terms of an eating. You can just eat it roasted. It's delicious. So I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do a puree. My carb eating boyfriend is having stuffing and potatoes as well. I am on the fence about making a potato-like thing. I don't wanna overcomplicate. I think I'm gonna make Nisha's cornbread stuffing and, of course, cranberry. I cannot have turkey without cranberry and gravy. So we'll do that. And we're just doing a small at-home holiday this year. But I was like, well, why not cook the full meal? Because it's delicious. We have leftovers. And what else am I going to do on Thanksgiving? Everybody else is doing Thanksgiving. Going to do Thanksgiving too. And I like it. And I figured out this is going to be like 3 hours of cooking, like including just time letting things roast. It's not hard for me. Anyway, Gail mentioned Costco has spatchcock turkeys this year if you don't want to or know how to do it. Well, that's awesome, Gail, for people. Now, I luckily have a boyfriend. I mean, I could stop there. I am grateful for him in many ways, but he is good with knives. He grew up like, well, at least he part of his life he grew up hunting, and so he knows how to deal with bones and ribs and cracking and stuff. So we already cut the backbone out because we're dry brining the turkey. So he did that yesterday, and most people just cut it out with very sharp shears. But we need new shears. So our shears weren't sharp enough. So he did it with a serrated knife. So we went against grain a little bit, and I basically stood there being like, "Don't cut your fingers off," and he was like, "I'm not, it's not a risk." Anyway, so that's what we're doing. Oh, thanks, Terry, for the super chat. What do you call it? The stars super chat. It's different in different places. Thank you, Kim, for all you do and being a huge part of helping me go from 338 to 168. Amazing. Maintenance is going well. Oh, that's great. Super duper happy. Terry, you should come to Nashville next year. I don't know, the dates haven't been announced, but when we do the PhD summit, I know the Berries would love to meet you too. So hopefully you can join us. Um, Kim says, I make cranberry sauce with Lakanto powdered. It's delicious and so easy. That's awesome. I use allulose because I find that when I do it with anything with erythritol in it, which I know Lakanto has, I don't like the texture it gets day 2 and 3. But if you use it all up right away, then you're not going to have to deal with that. But when you put it back in the fridge, it gets a little sandy, like because the erythritol recrystallizes. But um, allulose Boca Sweet, by the way, which was made with the squash that I was talking about earlier, and xylitol don't do that recrystallization. So, if anyone's looking for an alternative, but if it works for you, Kim, I support it. Um, you love Nisha stuffing as well. It's delicious, and we all love that. And I always feel very, honored that I was there in the kitchen when she came up with a cornbread recipe. I was visiting, and we were like a couple years ago, and we were like, let's do some recipes while I'm here. And there we go. There we were. Um, Robin says, I made Nisha's cornbread today. We'll make a small pan of keto dressing for me. Absolutely. So I grew up in California, and pretty much here we call it stuffing, even though we don't stuff the turkey. Now, some people stuff the turkey, but my family never stuffed the turkey. And I certainly never stuff the turkey now. It's a really good way to give your family food poisoning. It's like the number one way people get food poisoning. Because here's the problem. I talked about this in the cookbook. Here's the problem. To cook the stuffing until you know the stuffing is safe to eat because all the juices of the raw, you put it in a raw turkey. You have to overcook the breast. So you've stuffed the turkey and now you have to cook this turkey so that you ruin the breast meat so that the stuffing then can come back out of the turkey to be eaten without killing people. And that is not a good equation for me. I would just leave it out of the turkey and you can pour juices on it and you can then cook it. If you really want all the juices dripping through too, you could do something like put the turkey on a rack, let the juices drip through. I mean, there's many ways to do that, but yeah, don't stuff your turkey, people. I know some of you are going to be like, we've been stuffing the turkey for forever. Actually, the keto people probably don't care because you don't eat stuffing, but it's bad news bears. Anyway, but where was I going with that? I still call it stuffing. I can't call it dressing because when I say dressing, I always think dressing is like salad dressing, but I know what you mean. I guess it's the South calls it dressing. I think the Northerners and the West Coasters call it stuffing. It's still stuffing, even if it's not stuffed. It's like they're still socks, even if you're not wearing them on your feet. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, Orange XD. I will don't. Oh, this could go badly. Orange XD. I will donate if you tell me your favorite movie. This could go in many directions. One of my favorite. I have many favorite movies, but you know what? Just the other day, I was thinking, um, wow, this movie is really good. It's called The Big Short, I think. It's like a movie about finance, about the housing crisis. I know that's weird. I thought this is a really good movie. I like rewatched it the other day. But then another movie that I really love is The Accountant with what's his name? You know, not George Clooney. Uh Married to J Lo. Batman. Ben Affleck, there we go. The Accountant. I think that's a great movie. I don't have very traditional movie tastes. I like a lot of different things. I hate, despise, will not watch, and will dislike you more for suggesting we should watch. Um, oh, you're a troll. I thought you were a troll, but I just was willing. It was an interesting topic to discuss, but now we've confirmed it. You've been blocked. There we go. All right. So block user. Fun stuff. I don't have an admin to do that for me here. I just do it myself. Um, anyway. So yeah, but anybody else wants to talk about movies, that we can do that. All right, let's see. Michelle says, I finally got my insulin tested. I'm struggling so much to lose on low carb, and I expected to be really high. It was only 12.7. That's really high. Michelle, just letting you know. So the test says up to 20 or 25 is normal. Is not. That's very high. I would say 12 is 12.7 is like moderately high. It certainly, I would not call it in the healthy range. Hold on, Robin has a question. Let me find that for you, Robin. Um, so no, so you want your fasting insulin, in my opinion, and the opinion of probably most keto or low carb kind of people. Um, it Now the exact number varies. Some people, let me find this for you. Some people will say that 6 is fine, perfectly fine. Some people say if it's under 10, you're at least in the right ballpark. And then some people will say that you really want it under 5. Now, if you're, depending on the circumstances you find themselves in, here is the link to the cookbook. Um, if you have a fasting insulin of 5, 6, somewhere in that range, even if it's like up in 7, you're in that direction. But what matters more than anything else is the direction it's heading. So if your fasting insulin was 25 and now it's 12.7, wow, you're doing so much better, right? So you have to take that into account. But if it's just hanging out there, well, you kind of have to look at why that is the case. So, but yeah, 12.7 is still very high. Now, if you're not losing weight, there can be a lot of reasons behind that for sure. Um, but a couple of the things I would look at then, Michelle, is like how much food are you eating, of what type, when, and just it's time to, if you've been keto for or low carb for a couple of months to a year, then definitely it's time to really investigate um, tweaking things so that you can get the results that you actually want. So I would definitely, follow up with that. And so if you're not already tracking your food, I would start tracking your food. Even if it's not in a tracker, it could be literally writing it down in a book so that you can keep track of what's going on. Because I find so often we are, even if we're eating within a framework, we're kind of unconscious about what we're going to be eating. So we need to, stay really vigilant there. Not hyper vigilant, not stressed out vigilant, but aware and conscious and connected to our food. Kim says keto pumpkin cheesecake, yum. Yum is right. I love a good keto pumpkin cheesecake. And I have a bunch of different ways to make them in my favorites cookbook. So not the one I did with Nisha, the other one. Also, all my cookbooks are at kimhowerton.com/books. So if you want to look at all of them, I have 3 cookbooks. That one has a ton. The holiday favorites, ton of pumpkin recipes, including like a caramel salted cheesecake, a layered one, so it's a cheesecake and a pumpkin pie, like layered on each other. Oh gosh, you guys, when I made that, I made it like several times and I couldn't decide if I wanted it to be like 50% cheesecake, 50% pumpkin. Two thirds, one third, one third, two thirds. I was like, what's the best ratio of pumpkin to cheese? And then I realized I could just tell people, which one do you want to emphasize? But yeah, those are all in there. Um, so that's I'll just put this here. I can't type and think, apparently. So if you go to kimhowerton.com/books, you can find all the books. Common Sense Labs, my holiday favorites, the cookbook with Nisha, and my non-holiday related cookbook. Those are all there. And they're gonna make, oh, not that one, this one. They're gonna make great Christmas gifts if you want to order them. So that's what we got. All right. And what else? What else, people? Let me see if I can add these to the notes. Hold on. After the broadcast is over, I'll make sure all of the notes are updated so you have all the links that you want. For some reason, it's hard to do it all at once. All right, let's see. What did I miss? So, kind of an odd commentary. Yesterday, my boyfriend, well, not yesterday, over the past few days, my boyfriend and I like started watching this show about moonshiners, like a moonshiners competition, because we don't know anything about making alcohol. So we're like, well, let's learn more about this. We were watching the show. And I just noticed as soon as that show came on, I started talking like this. I had a little accent as I was talking to I was like, do you want ice cream? It's like I was like, what is it about me that as soon as I start talking to somebody, I don't have a very good accent, but I just drift so that I'm talking like whoever I'm talking to or listening to. I'm very suggestible, apparently. Uh, my natural accent is just that I say like a lot and I'm a little nasal because I'm from California. We say like a lot. It's like, she's like means many verbs. Anyway, there's also a little bit of a fight over hella. Did that come from Oakland or Hecka? Anyway, there's some like fight. I think it's Pittsburgh also claims it. Anyway, I'm just blathering because you guys are very low on questions. No, Terry, I'm not Valley Girl. That is Southern California, although the like is shared. But Valley Girl is a lot more like this. You draw your words out really long, like, oh my God, that's Valley Girl. Northern California. So Northern California is like a totally different state. It just happens to be the same state. But Southern Cal, so like the distance, if you traveled from Northern California all the way to like the bottom of Southern California, you would have, if you were on the East Coast, you would pass through like 5 states by then. So we have a lot of variation. The word like though is shared up and down the coast. But yeah, Valley Girl, a little different. Um uh like yeah. Um Robin says like is better than fixin' to. Yeah, I'm fixing to. Oh, yeah, and on this Moonshiners show, they're from a region where they say use, Youse. Where are yous going? Which is there that region's version of y'all, which is also very useful. And so one of the things that we, you get into regionally is what, all these little things. I always think it's so much fun. Anyway, Patrice ordered the labs book, expecting it soon. Awesome. Super happy about that. Um, But Robin, I think fixin' to is really is useful. I'm fixing to. Are you're gonna do that? I'm fixing to. Anyway. Oh, and yens. Yes, Terry, there's yens, use, y'all. Yens, yins, use, y'all. I don't and then on the West Coast, we just say dude. I mean, I don't say dude much anymore, but when I was a kid, dude, everyone was a dude. You're a dude, I'm a dude. Girls are dudes, boys are dudes, dudes. Anyway, we don't have a y'all though. So yins, yens, use, all those somehow they didn't make them all the way west. And does somebody know? Is there a West Coast version? I reckon. Yeah, Cynthia, I reckon. Reckon. I reckon. I reckon I'm fixing to come to y'all's house. How about that one? Just put them all in there. What do y'all reckon? Anyway. Oh, good. Luba got her Common Sense Labs yesterday. Awesome. I'm always happy they're showing up. Okay, Nancy's not a dude, she's a gal. Yeah, but gal isn't really part of our vernacular. It's kind of, but you aren't like all you gals come over here. Like dudes, get over here. But I think that might be generational, Nancy. I'm like your younger sister age, probably, right? And so I think I'm the oldest person that really the dudes was happening. Oh, Midwest is you guys. You guys. Yeah. Dudette. Missy. Oh, no, that means you're in trouble. My grandfather, uh, uh, we called him Rocky, but his name was Albert. And Rocky was from, well, he got his name in World War II, Rocky, because he was the only one from east of the Rockies. So he got Rocky. And he used to call me Sissy because he's from Arkansas originally. So Sissy. I was Sissy and my boyfriend. Whoa, that's weird. My brother was Butch. Sissy and Butch. That's those were my grandfather's nicknames for us. Funny, right? Sissy and Butch. No like gender stereotyping there. All right. Uh all right. So I missed a question while I was just going on. All right, Nancy asked a question. Nancy says, "Do I have a suggestion for how to make Nisha's cornbread without pork rinds? What could I sub?" Yeah, so one of the things you have to figure whenever you're subbing flours, I always say give it a test run first because those flour exchanges can be really different. So what you want to do is think about what you're not going to be using. So if you're not using pork rinds, um, what else could you use as a flour? The obvious answer is almond flour or coconut flour or something similar. And so what are the properties of pork rinds? Well, they have a lot of fat in them, which is going to add a lot of moisture. So if you just replaced the um, pork rinds with, say, almond flour, which tend to be closer to a fit, coconut flour is more absorbent and lower fat. So I probably lean towards a little bit of almond flour. But you have to consider if you need to add something with that or another thing to kind of balance it. So what I would do is if I were trying to replace the pork rinds, I mean, first of all, quite honestly, I would just look up a recipe for cornbread that does not have pork rinds in it and make that. But if you were trying to just recreate something, I would try it with almond flour instead of pork rinds, see what it tastes like and the texture is like. And if it is not appropriate to you, you're going to have to make adjustments. But ultimately, at the end of the day, for almost all of these recipes, I think you're better off if the major central ingredient is something you can't eat, get a different recipe. Just use a different corn. Google keto cornbread and find somebody who you think generally is fairly trustworthy in terms of their recipes, and then use that. Use that recipe. That would be more my recommendation. Um, gotcha, Nancy. All right. Any good ideas, said Larry, for leftover turkey? Well, I just like to eat more turkey. I never like bother like making it into things. I remember my mom used to do things like make turkey tetrazzini, which is like noodles, breadcrumbs, and Yeah, a bunch of like marshmallow. Wow, I'm having that day where like the wrong word is coming out of my mouth. Where cream of mushroom soup was weird. Anyway, just remember that from childhood. Um, but so mainly I just eat turkey with stuffing and great. Well, not stuffing. It's like my old see words are just coming out of my mouth. Well, yeah, but I'm making Nisha stuffing. So yes, but I just eat turkey with gravy and cranberry and all the other stuff. I just have that same meal over and over and over again until it's gone. But if you want to do something else with turkey, very easy things. Just treat it a lot like chicken in a lot of ways. You can chop it up and throw it in a salad. You can make it into some type of casserole. You could throw it in your food processor and shred it and turn it into burgers. Yeah, you can take like cooked chicken or turkey meat and shred it and then use it in like a ground meat almost. You can make like a you there are lots of things you can do with it, but clearly I have no central ideas because I just eat it like turkey. Um, Robin says, "Can you give a game plan for someone with mild fatty liver?" Yeah, I would say if you have mild fatty liver, you probably want to abstain from as much refined food as possible. I think the number one thing that you want to do if you want to start to reverse fatty liver is not eat junk food. That's the number one thing. The number two thing is, eat whole real foods. So eat things that are high in protein, um, lower in carbs, very low in refined processed foods. And you want to start to do the kinds of actions that are going to help you lose weight. You're going to want to, eat in a slight deficit. You're going to want to eat in a way that your body wants to shed weight because as you shed that fat, it's going to shed from your liver as well. Also, you want to make sure you're eating some egg yolks. I don't mean you have to eat like 20,000 egg yolks, but make sure I would say, including egg yolks in your diet on the regular is great. They're high in choline, and choline is good for your liver health. So I would say get rid of the junk food, don't eat processed carbs, don't overeat, get rid of the super refined foods. Eat plenty of protein, get some egg yolks and some eggs. Some whole eggs are good too, but the egg yolks, the choline is in the yolks and eat in a way that your body starts to shed some weight and that'll help you shed some liver fat too. um Ramona asks, wow, the new cookbook is $29. Yep, it is. I know it's a little pricey. If that's too much for people, the digital is there. It's 10 bucks less. Why is it so pricey? Well, because it's very expensive to print books. And so we're printing these like on demand. So if you want a book, you order it, they print it for you and it gets sent out. So so it's not super inexpensive. And so but that's why we have the digital as well. So if that seems excessive, you can get the digital instead, and it's viewable on any phone, laptop, computer, anywhere you want to see it. So there you go. I don't know if people know how expensive it is to make a cookbook because it's thousands upon thousands of dollars of ingredients when we're trying recipes. And yeah, I'm not like poor me. I'm not at all. I just want people to know like a lot of money goes in up front to creating these things. Taking pictures, making recipes 5 and 10 times to try and make sure they're right. Taking the pictures, getting those pictures into the book, editing the book, getting the book printed. Like it's a labor for sure. So I totally get it if things are out of people's budget, totally get it. And no shame for anyone who's like, I'm not going to get the book. But if you want to know why it's expensive, it's a lot of work to put a book out. And as much as I like to do things like this for free, anything I can do for free, I do. But making the book is expensive. So I mean, I'm my sweater is weird. I'm gonna I'm gonna try and keep things real with you guys, right? So that's the real answer. And the shipping costs, I did not upcharge those at all. Those are entirely what it costs me to get the book to you or us. There's more than me, but I'm doing the admin part of the job. So, um, so there you go. Yeah, it's just shipping international. If you live international, that's going to be expensive. So, but yeah, get the digital. There are no shipping costs, and the book is less. So, and the cool thing about the digital version is I have sized it to print. This is not it. This is something else, but this is from the labs book. But it's true of the labs book as well, to print like this on printer paper. So you can get the digital, you can be like, download the book, it's on your computer, and then you can be like, I want to make the recipe on page 12. And you just go and say print and then select page 12. And it'll just print page 12. And so for those of you that like to hold a piece of paper in your hand, you can still hold a piece of paper in your hand. So there you go. Life is expensive these days, guys. I'm sorry, it really is for on all sides. I'm not happy about it either. Um, the From the time we started thinking about a book till now, like price of paper has like gone up by like 3 times. Everything has gotten expensive. Um, Vicky said, I got both the Christmas book and the digital so I can make recipes. So far, so good. All right, good, Vicky. I'm happy about that. Leah says, for some reason, I don't like leftover chicky. You're not alone. A lot of people don't like it. It gets a little gamier as it sits, like it has a stronger flavor. So some people are not super into that. So not alone on that. But I would then, if that's the case, I would get a smaller turkey or have other people over you can feed. Nancy asked, oh, yeah, Kathy. Yeah. Shipping everywhere is nuts. Nancy asked, have you seen the Huberman Chris Palmer podcast? I've seen it. I haven't listened to it yet, but I listened to Palmer's podcast with Tim Ferriss, which came out a few days before the Huberman podcast. Apparently, Palmer is making the rounds because his book is coming out. So, and I bought his book and I've listened to about a quarter of it so far. So super excited. I've heard Chris Palmer on a couple of podcast. What am I talking about? I've seen Chris Palmer and met him and talked to him at a couple of conferences. And he brought, like at the metabolic health conference in May, he brought one of his patients with him and talked about her recovery from schizophrenia and how much her life had changed since she implemented the ketogenic diet. So that was really awesome. What I found very touching about him, he mentioned this at the beginning of the book, but he talked about it a little more at length on the Tim Ferriss podcast, was that he came from a very big family. I don't remember how many kids, but a lot of kids, maybe 6. And everything was great in the family until his mom, like when he was maybe 10, 13, 12, something like that, developed really serious mental illness and like had hallucinations, all sorts of major problems. And it broke up the family. His parents divorced, and he shared the story that when they divorced, he knew she wasn't okay. And he was still pretty young at that point. And so when they separated, some of the kids went with the dad, and I think only Chris ended up staying with the mom, but I don't know that for sure. But he ended up staying with the mom, and it felt like kind of to take care of her because he was like, oh, she's going to die if she doesn't have somebody to take care of her. And it just broke my heart. And so he dedicated the book basically for people like her. She passed away later, but it broke my heart to hear that story about and how he ended up working as he went to medical school, he's a psychiatrist, and being so drawn to the mental health field. And anyway, it was very touching story to think about that, teenage boy, looking at his mentally ill mom and thinking somebody's got to take care of her. Anyway, got to me, teared up. Anyway, Nancy says the podcast was very long. It was interesting. Yeah, Huberman's podcasts are very long. The Tim Ferriss one was also almost 2 hours, I think. Terry says, "Oh, for only $3 more, I got the hard and digital copy. Nice. Yeah, we made the digital copy just a slight increase. It's not a lot, just a little add-on, just a little one. Nancy says he was very vulnerable. Yeah, he comes across that way. He seems like a really good guy. So glad to have him fighting the fight. It's really interesting. I don't know if you guys know of Georgia Ede, not Eads, Ede, EDE. Georgia Ede is also a psychiatrist, and she's mostly carnivore, but very into the same sort of topic matter. And she was, out a few years before him in talking about this mental health stuff. And so very interesting. But if you're ever around either one of them, you do just feel like you want them to move in next door because you want to come over and just sit in their presence. They just have such a nice, warm, like presence about them. Anyway. Um, Shirley says, "Hey, Kim ordered the lab book 2 weeks ago. How long does it take? Can't wait to read it." So the lab book should only take 8 to 10 days at most to arrive. But I will say that there was a bit at the beginning of November where like we have an autumn. You're like, this is TMI, Kim. We have an automation set up. So when you buy the book, the publisher is automatically informed that your book has been purchased and they should send you one. And it turned out there was like a week where the automation was going a little screwy. And so we fixed it. It's all fixed. And everybody's book is out. Like it's not like yours is sitting in the file somewhere, but there was like a slight delay and you might have suffered from that. I apologize. But if you want to email me, kim@thecatonist.com, I can follow up on your book and see where it is. Now, at some point, everybody's book is with the USPS, and so at that point I'm like, I don't know. It's the postal service has it, and they're in your town. I can tell you that. I can tell you where your book is. I can't tell you why the postal service has not given it to you yet, but I can tell you where it is in the world. So there you go. All right. What else is going on, people? Well, so what are your plans for Thanksgiving? Those of you that are doing a Thanksgiving thing. Who has anyone decided that they're not staying keto or low carb and they're just going to eat some other things? What's your game plan? Are you going into the day with a game plan? I think a lot of people's game plan is they're going to stay keto, which makes life a lot easier for a lot of people, especially when they're feeling stressed out. But, what are your personal boundaries and decisions around the holiday season this year? Put it in the comments. We can talk about it. I feel like it's very dim in here today. Sorry, guys. I've got not a lot of light. I'm still adjusting to this dark early thing. But Nancy, yeah, I'm definitely gonna listen to that as well. All right, what else is going on, people? I guess that might be it for today. So, couple things you probably need to. Oh, wait. Terry says, "Mom and I are going to Golden Corral. I can pick meat and veggies with no sauce or salad and choose a couple pieces of fruit as my dessert." Sounds great, Terry. I have never been to a Golden Corral, but I hear that I've seen their commercials. They look like they have a lot of food to choose from. So that sounds good. I think the only real buffet type experience that I've had was Sizzler. I don't think Sizzler exists anymore. Leah says, "I'm staying keto. I've been keto for years. It's hard to undo the mindset." Great. Kathy says, "All keto food this year with friends." Super. Bricky says, "Staying keto and making everything with sun." Oh, how fun. Super fun. Nancy says, "I'm cooking for a crowd, making some non-keto foods. I hope to only eat keto." So Nancy, what I would say is make a decision and stick to it. So you might say, because I hope, right? I don't want you to end up feeling like disappointed with yourself on Thanksgiving. So I would say if you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna just eat the keto stuff," or "I'm gonna have this much of that thing, but I'm not gonna have more than that," right? Like decide. Go into it with a firm mind so that you don't have to feel like you're wavering. That would be my advice. Anyway, you do you though. Terry says keto all the way. I mean, there are so many great keto things you can make. It's super, super easy. Okay, low carb, super. I mean, Larry says, "Wife making pumpkin pie. Have to have some." Great. You do you, Larry. I would say just have a plan that it's a piece of pumpkin pie, not a whole pumpkin pie, right? And keep that reasonable. You could also talk to your wife about maybe getting some allulose in the future or a keto sweetener, because quite honestly, that's the only thing in the pumpkin pie filling that isn't keto. So you could change that up. All right, Dave, with the TMI, staying carnivore, not a fan of the trots. All right. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, right? Like, if you're somebody who digestively is significantly inconvenienced by straying, that's a pretty that is pretty good incentive not to do that. Because is there like a worse place to have a stomach issue than a party? I don't know that, unless a car trip. Both bad, both very bad. At someone else's house, a party, around other people, long car trip, stuck in traffic. Those are bad places to have digestive issues. Anyway, and on that really cheery note, I'm going to call it a night. Everybody have a fabulous holiday. I'm around if you need me. Write me a message, and I will see you in the post Thanksgiving week weakness. All right, bye guys.